I don't even know what movie they were going to show, actually.
All right, good evening. Welcome to the City of Hayden Planning and Zoning Commission meeting. Today is Monday, August 29th. Calling the meeting to order. May we get a roll call of commission members, please?
Sure, Commissioner Bemis,
Here.
Chair Davis,
I am present.
Commissioner Howard. Here. Vice Chair Taylor.
Present.
And let's see, Commissioner Gibson and Commissioner Prickett are not here.
Not yet here.
Yep. So,
All right. Would you please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance? Mary, would you mind?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, play ball. Note for the record that Keith showed up.
so Commissioner Gibson showed up at 5:02 for the record.
Donna, are there any additions or corrections to the agenda tonight?
None that I'm aware of.
Thank you. To the commissioners, has anyone got any conflict of interest with any agenda item tonight?
No.
No.
Wonderful, and I do not. Next item is the consent calendar, which consists of the approval of the minutes from August 15th, 2022, and the approval of written recommendation for PZE 22-0092 citywide zone map amendment. Is there any need for discussion, or is there a motion to be made?
I make a motion to approve all items on the consent calendar as written.
I
second that.
There's a motion and a second. All in favor, it indicates so, yes?
Yep.
Aye.
Yes.
None opposed? Hearing none. Now we should move on to the public hearing tonight, which is PZE-22-0096, also known as Westbrook Termination of Zoning Development Agreement. And I'm sure Donna will hit this, but just for the commissioners, tonight, all we are looking at is a termination of a previously existing agreement, nothing else.
So, you have seen us recommend zoning development agreements in the past. And this is a zoning development agreement that was put into place in about 2006. And so in this case, the owners of that property have changed, and several things have changed since 2006. And so you saw all that in your staff review. So let's start. Oh, that was good. I hit escape and met next. So it's been a good day. So as a background, in spring of 2006, a zone map amendment from agricultural to residential was requested. And in the summer of 2006, the Planning and Zoning Commission heard that request. And they recommended approval of the request from agricultural to residential. And in the fall of 2006, the City Council heard that zone map request, had the minutes of the Planning and Zoning Commission's recommendation, and I included the minutes in the staff review, so you were able to read those. And at the end of the day, they approved the zone map amendment from agricultural to residential, with conditions that limited the density of the 2.4 acres to 2 dwelling units on those 2.4 acres. In the fall of 2007, a subdivision created 3 lots. It created the 2 single-family residential lots, and then it created a green space tract along the southern boundary of the whole 2.4 acres in conformance with the then approved transportation plan. And since that date, that requirement for green space tract along Honeysuckle has been removed. So it literally is a green space tract to nowhere. So again, the existing conditions are 3 lots, 2.4 acres, 2 single-family residences with the usual pertinent structures are on it.
And Donna, just for clarity, it was City Council, not Planning and Zoning, that came up with the conditions.
That's correct. So the development team here is, the applicant is Christina, Carr on behalf of Chris and Christina, and Christina's the daughter of the owners, Glenn and Kathy Westbrook. So I'm going to leave this up, but I wanted to make a couple of quick comments related to the project site. So at the time of this subdivision in 2006, the driveway access was limited to 2 dwelling units per driveway, and that has since changed to 5. The green space tract we already talked about. The house
Donna,
and,
for clarity, can you point at which,
1875 and
Thank you.
1815 and the green space tract. The house at 1815 was constructed in 1944. The subdivision adjacent to that happened sometime in the 2000s. I didn't actually look that up because I knew the house had renovations.
To the east.
But this house, which was the original house on the property, did go through remodels, but they were allowed remodels and they didn't increase the nonconformity setback on the east property side.
so they were grandfathered in, the fact they're so close to the property line because the house was there before.
Correct. No, but
Anything else?
you didn't make it closer to the property line.
Right.
Correct. We'll come back to that, but I just wanted you to get a vision as you're looking west from Ramsey and Honeysuckle. And where you see the bump out here, that's that road widening for the typical section that existed at that point in time. So the curbs, swales, and sidewalks are already existing. They were put in as part of the subdivision, Draper's Acres, that was in your attachments of your plan, of your staff review. I included those plans. And then if you're on the western boundary of the property and you're looking back at that long skinny driveway, sewer actually runs up this to the northernmost property line has actually got an 8-inch main, mostly because the property to the west is expected to develop at some point and would need to connect to a main. So those two property owners work together to put that main in.
Is that a shop on the left and the house
It
on the
is.
right?
Shop on the left, house on the right. So you're kind of pointed northeast to get you kind of a view of that. And then if you centered yourself on the lot and looked north, that's what you could see. Okay. So with that, I'm going to scroll back to this one so that the presenters have a visual they can work off of, and I'll turn it over to them. You're up.
So they don't have any, Donna, they don't have a slide deck?
Nope.
Okay.
Donna, are you limping?
High heels. Sore knees.
Okay.
Trying to break my body into a wedding in November.
I'm Kathy West.
That I'm going to be at.
Kathy, good evening. Before you start, what really helps us is we have standards of approval that we use to make our decision. You can work that into whatever presentation you have. That is going to be really helpful for you. I assume you know what they are, right?
Is that the goals and policies and,
No. It's the criteria by which we make our decision.
Yeah, they're in your staff review. You know, you're fine.
okay.
Keep going.
So currently, well, as Dawn already said, you know, what was done in May of '06, and you've already seen the zoning, per the zoning and development agreement, pages 1 through 3, she already pointed out to the immediate west of our property is agriculture. And then the rest of the surrounding areas, to include ours, is single family and suburban. Residential, single family and suburban. Do I need to go over all the stuff that Don already covered? I mean, okay. And so then our property is lot 1, which is the front property, the 1815, that's our property. Currently it's 1.2 acres. And the zoning development agreement limits the subdivision density to 1 unit, as Donna stated, per property. We would like to split our property so that our daughter and her husband could put a home on it and keep her in close proximity to me.
The structure with the white roof on it, what's that?
That's a shed.
To the north of the shed, okay.
Yeah, that's a shed. And this is a chicken coop. That's a little shed garage. This is the other structure that was already there. All that stuff was already moved on.
Thank you.
Anyhow, we are seeking to split the property so that we can keep our daughter close to me. She has a medical condition that is worsening as time goes on, and it will currently affect her quality of living. She is going to require somebody that she can trust to assist her in her day-to-day living activities and care while her husband is at work, and that's me. Excuse me. Her condition, as I stated, will affect her for the rest of her life and is worsening and will affect her quality of life. And this has resulted in her having disability benefits. We are seeking to split the property so that she will be close to me so that I can have quick access to her as her needs and emergencies may arise and while her husband is at work. We have no intention of wanting to do anything else with it. This will not affect the zoning of the property. We're just seeking to terminate the ZDA so that we could do this because currently it limits that.
Who owns the lot then behind that?
Behind us, Travis Anderson, I believe is his last name. We were going to purchase that initially when we purchased our property. And while we were in escrow, Travis bought it. And so we were going to purchase that, incorporate the two, and then, do away with the property line fence and just put a gate so that her and her husband could live there. And that was our intention. But before we closed escrow, Travis got it.
And Donna, any action post, if the zone development agreement is terminated tonight, any action thereby to split the lot or anything like that would come back through planning and zoning?
Not necessarily, because of the green space tract that's in the front. They actually have two lots. So they're just going to propose to do a boundary line adjustment to move it forward. If they leave the 30 feet at the south side as landscaping, then it's just a straight boundary line adjustment, and that 30 feet on the south side just remains a green space buffer.
Okay.
If they want to remove the green space buffer, then staff has told them that they would need to replat it, which would effectively remove the green space buffer from the plat.
Okay, so any action would just be between an applicant and the city, not city council, not planning and zoning?
Correct.
Thank you. No, I mean, this is.
Then could Travis in the back then split his lot also?
Through a minor subdivision process, correct?
Oh, because he doesn't have two lots, so he can't do it.
Correct.
Gotcha. But that would be,
And he was noticed as a part of this application requirement, 300 feet radius around the properties that were involved in the zoning development agreement were noticed. And so we have not heard from him.
And nobody's here, so.
Correct.
So currently, per the comprehensive plan, which is under the goals and policies, pages 8 through 7, goal number 3, the property is currently zoned single-family residential with medium density of up to 5 units. There is 1 unit or residence on each property, lot 1, lot 2, or lot 1. Termination of the ZDA, as I stated, will not change the zoning at all. In fact, it will actually promote a greater choice and opportunity for our daughter and her husband to purchase approximately 1/3 of an acre as per the goals of, or the codes of the city, and become homeowners and remain extremely close to us for any and all needed assistance with her daily living activities. Goal number 4, we feel pertains and we follow the ZDA. Termination of the ZDA will allow us to further develop our land by providing for our disabled daughter. Goal number 8, our property is currently serviced by all the existing public facilities. The ZDA termination will not change that. Additionally, regarding the concern of flag lots, that was mentioned in the original meeting with the Drapers that owned it. There was a concern by the council that flag lots would be created. As you can see, there are no flag lots and none will be created.
You're talking about in 2006?
Yes.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah. Currently, and the reason there is no flag lot is because there is an easement. Stay. There is an easement. This is our property, but it's an easement that goes, that it's paved, asphalt going all the way back, continuing to Travis's property. So they will over here. they will use that as well. Sorry. Goal number 16, the ZDA has created unnecessary limitations to our ability to utilize our property in accordance with the way we need to in order to adequately care for our daughter as needed, while granting her the same opportunity to become a homeowner. Goal number 17, our property, as I stated before, is currently zoned single-family residential with medium density. This medium density, as Donna stated, allows for up to 5 units per acre. And having this in mind, splitting our property, giving our daughter up to 1/3 of an acre is keeping with the desire of this goal, promoting and encouraging the development and rehabilitation of quality housing through a variety of the housing opportunities and densities that currently exist. Policy number 18, terminating the ZDA, should not have any financial or operational impact, as the property will still remain zoned single-family residential. Policy number 23, the Coeur d'Alene Airport had no comment. The Department of Environmental Quality has no environmental impact comments for the project, and that's evidenced by pages 1 and 2 in the public agency comments. I rest my case.
So simply the green space line, the north side of the green space line is what's going to be pushed back to the north more so, is what we're talking about.
Correct. Should this be approved?
Should we terminate the zone development?
Should you? Yeah.
Are they gonna do like the whole
terminate?
green belt along Honeysuckle back in 06? Was that the idea? Very good.
Okay. Any other questions for the applicant?
No.
Okay, thank you.
By the street.
Back
Behind the house.
back, so they have to go to the acre.
Donna, what's the size of Travis's lot?
It's, I couldn't tell you off the top of my head, but we can look.
It's about 0.8. Yeah, I'm thinking he could probably, I mean,
There you have it.
what?
There you have it.
Four neighbors and he's serviced the mother-in-law septic tank.
So part of the thing that you have to do with a zoning development agreement when you terminate it is that zoning development agreements are supposed to be put into place to ensure that the use of the zone, something about the zone makes it meet the standards of approval. So in some way, the city council at that point in time felt that by adding the zoning development agreement, it made this to be meet the standards of approval that were required at the time that it was approved. So by removing the zoning development agreement, you have to show that by its standing as single-family residential without a zoning development agreement, it still fits for that area, meets the standards of approval for a zone map amendment. So you're still going to treat it like a zone map amendment, even though it's got that underlying zone already of residential single-family. So because the comprehensive plan shows this property as single-family residential, consistent with the underlying zone designation of single-family residential, staff did not believe that any additional studies or plans were required. And the same goes for conditions of approval. The applicant has requested to terminate the zoning development agreement based on the request. The surrounding single-family residential uses, staff did not find that additional conditions should be proposed. I'm not suggesting that you might not find some, but staff didn't see any.
And just for clarity, when we're making any motions tonight, we are recommending to city council.
Correct. Amendment to the zone map and zone text shall be in accordance with the future land use map and the goals and policies found in the Hayden Comprehensive Plan. And so this is the future land use map, and that is in a C of single-family residential. Comprehensive plan identifies single-family residential as a land use type that represents a classic Hayden neighborhood where single-family homes dominate and densities are low, typically ranging from 3 to 4 units per acre. Accessory dwelling units are permitted, but 2-family dwellings and other types of missing middle housing are not. And land use regulations will be applied in ways that respect public needs, minimize conflicts with nearby land uses, and protect the private property rights of the landowners. The goals that were identified in the staff review talk about 3, 4, 8. There's about 6 of them, but we did include the entire goals table for your review. That there may be others. But again, it's that maintenance of a balance of land uses and densities, encourage the development of land within the corporate limits, ensure that all development can be served by existing public facilities, and ensure that ordinances and policies don't violate those private property rights, and promote and encourage the development and rehabilitation of quality housing through a variety of housing options. And then the policies, development should be compatible with the land use chapter of the comprehensive plan. So is this single family residential compatible with the uses that are around it? And fiscally responsible in supplying adequate transportation, utilities, and parks to newly developed areas. There is no park requirement for this particular piece of property. And the transportation infrastructure is already existing, and so are the utilities, except for that additional sewer and water stuff. Minimize financial and operational impacts resulting from road improvement projects and maintenance. So again, it's got no new infrastructure proposed. And then ensure that the land use is compatible with the Coeur d'Alene Airport. We did receive comments from the airport. So amendment to the zone map and zone text shall align with the zone district's purpose and intent. So I pulled both the definition of when it had a zoning development agreement applied. Again, established to protect those stable neighborhoods of single family dwellings on smaller lots. And then today it's provides for that classic Hayden neighborhood where single family homes on smaller lots are permitted. So today, that's what it looks like. So it's, again, a sea of single-family residential uses throughout. This is 2.4 acres. It's like the other half of that 5-acre split down the middle. It's zoned ag, but they can't do anything. Yes, exactly. It's non-conforming. So they can't do anything to increase the non-conformity, although the single-family home that sits on it today can remain on it today. And then all of the properties that are south of this are all single-family residential. They almost all but one butt up against tumbleweed on the rear of their property. And should they ever decide to subdivide, they could split them and get access either way. But they're primarily all single-family residential today in residential suburban. Also, all non-conforming lots.
You sure tell the old from the new.
All right. So infrastructure, we've talked a little bit about that. There was a comment in the Hayden Lake Irrigation District's comments back that talked about at the time of any future development, what they would have to do. So in Hayden Lake Irrigation District, if you have less than an acre of land, you no longer qualify for irrigation in the strictest sense of the word. You have to move to domestic water. And so that's why the change out of the meters and what have you would occur should that movement occur and development happen. All of the dry utilities were installed underground at the time of the Draper's Acre subdivision, and all dedications of right-of-way occurred at that time as well. And the turnaround and parking were provided meeting Northern Lakes Fire and the city requirements at the time of that subdivision as well. If at the time of building permit, there were any additional requirements, they'd have to meet them as part of their building permits. So the Coeur d'Alene Airport had no comments. They requested an navigation easement, but they do have an navigation easement as part of Draper's Acres. We just need to get it to them. Idaho Department of Environmental Quality had no environmental impact concerns. Talked about Hayden Lake Irrigation District. And then there were 2 public comments that were attached to the memo to the commission last week. One of them just checked opposed, and the other one identified concerns about structure proximity to their property, and identified some noise concerns, but the city of Hayden has received no complaints to date for this particular piece of property related to any.
And Donna, the two comments, the one came from a house to the immediate east of the property. The second one was,
Next door,
Next
on
door
that
to
same
it.
street, yeah.
thank you.
I don't know if it was directly next door, but it was on the same street.
Right.
So the standards of approval are through the staff review and are listed here for use by the public. Should they
That's what we
be
used to
here?
make our decision.
And so the Planning and Zoning Commission recommends this to City Council. You can recommend it with approval. You could approve it with conditions if there were some additional conditions that you should want to morph the existing zoning development agreement into something else with new conditions, or you can deny the termination of the zoning development agreement request. Questions for me?
So my question is, will terminating this ZDA affect the entire piece?
Oh.
Not just theirs, but the one behind them as well?
Correct.
Okay. But he reached out?
Mhm.
Okay.
Can we make it a condition that it only affects theirs?
Yeah, but I'm not sure what that gains you.
Because what is that, because the zoning says only how many structures or how many, three?
Two.
Two.
Two currently up to 5.
Since he has an acre, he could put a house back there too, right?
And they could put two on the other one, right?
Potentially, he could put a second dwelling on it, that's correct. And still have 5 driveways, 5 dwelling units on the driveway.
But if we look at the map, I think I counted 7 houses immediately to the east. So regardless of the density that we're not here to discuss tonight,
Right.
potentially in the future, it would still be less than what is to the east.
Yeah, based on the driveway.
And honestly, even if somebody just went in and bought this up and developed it without raising everything, I think the best you could probably put is 4 homes in there. Given that we have to keep space, a certain amount of space with no house on it.
So where are they proposing to put the line for that third, just the back third?
Do you know where you're going to propose to put your line?
Okay. Yes. The back there.
Just that back third?
Yeah, sorry.
Okay.
Bushes. A tree.
Yeah.
Not a bush, it's a tree.
So the existing shop and the home would then be the frontage property, it would stay as the front property? Yeah, okay. At first, I was like, gosh, they're gonna try and put a house right in the front. That didn't,
No.
okay, this makes more sense.
Yeah, over that tree.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Any other questions for Donna?
No.
Okay, Donna, thank you. Can we leave up the standards of approval, please? Thank you, ma'am. We should do a public hearing, but we'll note for the record, and Fonda, I know you'll correct me if I'm misspeaking, we have no one in the audience. Do I need to go through the verbiage in case there's somebody online that wants to offer comments?
Just ask if there's someone online that wishes to comment.
All right, so before I go into a big, long spiel, is there anyone online that wishes to make comments for, neutral, or against this application? Okay, I'm hearing none, so we'll skip the part where we talk about testimony. And we can move to deliberations. Does the commission wish to discuss or defer deliberation? Got to discuss? No,
I don't have any
I don't have
comment.
anything I need to
I
Okay.
could defer. I thought you meant,
no, I just meant, do we want to decide this tonight or defer it? It's
Yeah,
one
we
of the
want to
things-
decide.
It's one of the things, it's one of the things I'm supposed to ask according to the script.
yeah.
Yeah.
Would you like to kick us off? Any comments, thoughts? Does it meet the standards of approval?
Yeah, I think it does. I feel like there's no question at all as to this whole process. And looking over, what I really liked is that she basically covered all of them.
Okay.
I feel really good about this one.
Very good. Sean?
Yeah, I think they met the standards of approval, and I don't see it causing any undue hardship to the city, so.
Super. Mary?
Or to anyone around them. Yeah.
Very good. Keith?
Yeah, I like it.
You like it? All right. I also feel the comprehensive plan is supported, the standards of approval are met, and unless anyone has any discussion, I am open to hearing a motion.
Okay. In the matter of PZE -22-0096, the Westbrook termination of zoning development agreement, I motion to approve the request for. I'm sorry, I recommend the approval for the request of termination
Of the zone map amendment?
of the zone map amendment.
All right. I think that's okay. Donna, does that sound good?
Zone map agreement.
Zone map
Zoning
agreement.
development agreement.
To the ZDA.
That's it.
There you go.
All right, I'll take that. And we got a second. May we take roll, please?
Yep. Vice Chair Taylor,
Yes.
Chair Davis,
Yes.
Commissioner Howard,
Yes.
Commissioner Bemis,
Yes.
Commissioner Gibson.
Yes.
Okay, PZE-22-0096 has been recommended for approval to City Council. On to reports.
That one did not fall under the cheat sheet.
No, you did awesome. Donna, anything for reports?
September 13th is our next, is it 13th? No, that's city council.
thought it was
That was our
19th.
next meeting.
Yeah.
September 19th.
19th, sorry. September 19th is our next Planning and Zoning Commission meeting. It's a workshop, hopefully with city council. I'm going to go over the standards of approval across the board as far as various kinds of decisions that are made. There was some questions raised in regards to how the new standards of approval were created. Some of them were created before me, and some were created as part of the zone Title 11 updates. They were all vetted previously, but there are folks that haven't seen them, as well as on the commission that haven't seen, where they were and what they became and why. So we'll talk about those.
Is there any discussion to change them or modify them by City
Not
Council?
at the moment. I think people are just trying to figure out, what they are and how they got to be there.
Is this a public hearing?
And no, it's a workshop.
I think public can show up, they just can't speak, right?
Correct. It's a
And
workshop.
what time?
Normal time, 5 o'clock.
Okay.
And as a reminder, I'm planning on being out of cell in the middle of the woods, fly fishing that week.
All right. Has council, have they met and have there been decisions made on any decisions we've made or recommended?
Like our last meeting?
Well, our last two were decides, they weren't recommends. So
Right.
is there any pending thing that they need to approve?
No, just residential multifamily is coming forward on the 13th.
That's
And then the Madison,
map.
the zone map and subdivision that came forward to you is still trying to work through its sewer tech situation.
What was the
Question, whatever.
one off of, Red
Hayden
Herring?
Avenue. Hayden Avenue.
Any other reports?
Nope, that's it.
Any commissioners have any other comments or questions?
Nope.
Thank you, everybody, so much for volunteering, for showing up.
We want to thank Sabrina
Yes, thank you.
for all her hard work.
Thank you very much.
Popcorn.
And the
Yep.
popcorn.
Thank you for
Your hard work.
You'll be sorely missed. I mean that sincerely.
Appreciate that.
Thank you. All right, we're adjourned.
Sorely missed.